this video, I'm going to tell you how to repair your broken Seeburg 1000 motor coupling. If you've got a Seeburg 1000, you know what I'm talking about. This is the Achilles heel of this machine. I'll show you where it is. This is actually the motor assembly, and this is the way you'll see it if you look inside your machine. And this is the piece. It's a little rubber thing that goes between the capstan up top and the motor at the bottom. They made these out of a kind of rubber that would perish over time. And so here's one. Actually, this whole thing I made fresh a couple years ago in the machine shop. We're not doing that today. What I'm going to do is show you how to fix your existing one. But this is what it's supposed to look like. A capstan will be vertical like that with a flexible rubber coupling that goes like so, and then a small ring that goes on the end of the motor. Now here's the motor. This would connect like that. And this is what most people's look like. They're broken. And here's an image of one in a machine that's broken. That's what you'll see. And if somebody's selling one on eBay, you might want to ask them to see a picture of the capstan so you can see if it's broken or not. I'm going to include the drawing, and I'll put that in GitHub. I'll give a link in the description. And you're going to need to know, this is probably the most important part, is knowing what to make the flexible coupling out of. So this is the rubber tubing that I used. I found it on Amazon. Here's the flexible tubing that I used to cover the screws that are on either side that hold the, this little bit right here, these little, right there. And finally, these are the screws. And let's get to it. And you might not notice that you've got a broken coupling because of the way they designed this. If you look at it, you can see that there's these two little plastic outrigger things that sit in alignment with these little wings on the hub at the top of the motor. And so if this coupling breaks, these little wings smack against these two little outriggers, and those will turn your capstan. Let me show you how this looks. So if you look in the front of your machine and you see that this rubber is broken, then you have to fix that. This is just going to make a clattering noise, and your playback is going to be all full of wobbly stuff until you fix this. So the way we're going to go about this is we're going to take off the broken old stump of rubber, and we're going to drill a little bit of a hole in here. We're going to make some pieces in the machine shop, and we're drawing here. We're going to make a small ring that's going to go with the base, in the base here. Going to hold it on with this screw. Then we're going to make the coupling that goes on the motor. That's this little thing with the wings on it down here. We're just going to make that out of this piece of steel. And finally, we're going to glue in a piece of rubber tubing to form this coupling here, this flexible coupling. And by the time we're done, we'll have a new coupling for your motor. So the first thing the drawing calls for is to make a small 1/4 inch cut inside this, right in the bottom of that. So we're going to have to, it's going to be a little bit tricky because I don't have a cutter that's going to easily clear these little wings, but we can't take them off because they're sort of stamped in position here. So let me get a collet. Oops. Yeah, this will fit much better. Pop that out. Pop the new one in. See how that works. Wasn't planning on doing all this, but it seems like it might be necessary. All right, let's just see if we can get this thing to be kind of... So that's low, that's high. We shall... All right, that's good. Hopefully that'll help. And see just how deep the screw would be on one of these things. Got this pin, and we don't want to go into the pin. That's hardened steel. We don't want to do that. So it looks like, I'm just eyeballing it here, we've got 1/4 of an inch. That's all we got. 632 will be a number 32 drill bit. A little piece of paper behind here, and I'm going to sight on that drill bit. Make sure the tip of it, because we don't want to go into the roll pin. So there we are, we're right at the edge. Zero this out so that as I crank in, I'm going to make sure I don't go past 250. And we'll just go maybe makes me wonder if that capstan's hardened or not. I guess not. Okay, we're at 200 thousandths. That's scary. There's little wings going over that. I'm not used to that. It's a little sketchy. Just try to brush a little coolant on there. It's going to cause a problem. So we're at 200 thousandths. I'm waiting any second to actually hear that roll pin. $40. That's good enough. Okay. I'm actually just going to use a drill bit, 1/4 inch drill bit. And that's a 1/4 inch. All we really need is for the little sleeve we're going to make to go in there and locate itself on the edge. So that'll work. Okay. If I had a boring bar that would fit in there, I don't have a little tiny boring bar like that. So I gotta put the oil on ahead of time because of these dumb wings. So I need to go 0.0625. There it is. Pick it out. And again, all that's there for is just to locate the thing that we're going to slip in there so that we can latch it down firmly with the screw. Now got that looks like the one, 632, and grab this little thing here. It's going to go into the end of the tap wrench and guide it for us. A little springy thing that goes into the end of the tap wrench like that, and it'll keep me from going astray. Okay, let's pick a, I'm going to start with taper tap right there. We're not going to get many threads in this. Tap magic. Can't even get the taper tap to start because we didn't go that deep. It's going to be a bottoming tap all the way. We hit bottom right there. There's only like 5 threads in this thing. That's all we need. So these taps, they come in sets of 3. One with a very tapered point, the other one that's got a slightly less tapered point, and the other one that's got fairly wide aggressive flutes at the bottom. The idea is you use the taper tap first to get the shape of the hole without breaking the tap, and then you use this one, and then you use the bottoming tap to get into the bottom of the hole. In this case, though, the taper tap wasn't even touching the sides. Let's see if our screw will start. There it is. That's nice. That'll hold our little adapter sleeve very well. All right, now we're going to make this piece right here, capstan adapter. It's going to be 1/4 of an inch wide, and this is 3/16 of an inch long, and there's going to be a hole drilled through it for the screw to go through. So I'm just going to use this piece of steel. It's mild steel, and it fits right in the 1/2 inch collet that we were using before. Leave that sticking out a little bit like that. Right. So everything's good. Now this is going to be 3/16 long, so I'll just go in. I'm going to go and I've taken my facing cut. So I've taken my facing cut. I have not moved the position of the carriage. I'm going to go up here and zero everything out. Okay, I'm just going to go in. Just going to touch off. And I'm just going to go in until the number says, let's go. We'll go in a 1/2 inch. maybe not a half inch, it's a little bit much. 3/8. There we go. I have not touched the cross slide. And go in here and measure what this says. It's telling me 494 thousandths. So we go X. Enter. So now that's what that says is that the little circle with a slash means diameter. So that means 494 thousandths is the diameter of the part. So as I move the carriage in and out, we should see the 4. There we go. We should see that changing. All right. That's claiming to be 270. It's probably not. This lathe is not perfect, but 268. Not bad. Now that we know it's really 268, we're going to 1/4 inch. So we need to take it to 250. That should be 250. Always deburr your parts. Now I'm going to drill the hole in the center. Then I'm going to use a parting tool to chop it off. And we're going to be drilling by the print. The hole is a number 25 drill. So we're going to use a spotting drill and then the number 25. Number 25 right there. Okay, a little bit of oil on that. And we want to drill 3/8 of an inch. The piece we're making is going to be 3/16. The hole I'm just going to drill all the way through, and then we will cut it at the right length. Deburr it. All right. Now we're going to use a parting tool to cut it off. You should really indicate this in and everything, but this is such a tiny part, I'm not even going to bother with that. You want to make sure that before you start measuring, make sure the tool bit is right at the front of the part, right up lined up with it. And so you take your 6-inch scale, you flip it back and forth. And son of a gun, I hit it right on the money. That'll get you within like 1/1000th of an inch or two. Within 1/1000th. If it's one way or the other, it'll catch. So then zero out the display. And now I know that I want to, so this is, move you around here. So you see that this parting tool is right up even with the end. We just take the scale, run it up against it. You can tell that it actually is right on there. So what I want to do now, I zeroed out the display, and I want to move over until the display says 3/16 of an inch, which, well, on the drawing, it says 188 thousandths. So go here, and move over. 188, oh, that's enough, that's fine. And so you can see now that we've actually moved over. Let me get the scale the right way. Just a sanity check. You see we're 3/16 over. A little oil on that. We're going to slow way down. And then I'm just going to use this to catch the part. And there it is. The part is complete. Let me see if it's right in there. We get the screw and hold it in place. I think the screw is just a touch too long. Oh, son of a gun. We're almost there now. We just need to make the other end. So I went over to the bandsaw and cut off the end of the screw and ground it a little bit on a belt sander. And so there we go. Got this little stump in the middle of the capstan, and we're going to use that to glue up our flexible coupling when the time comes. So it turns out we did ourselves good with what we did on the lathe earlier. This little bump that we left on there is exactly 250 thousandths wide, and then the length turns out to be, if I go and we see that it hits at 133 thousandths, meaning we've got 1/8 of an inch. That's exactly what we need there. And we're just going to go, there we go. We've done the end just fine. Now the outside, we need to get that. We look at the print and we see we're going to be 438 thousandths. The diameter of this part right now is 500. This is a 1/2 inch stock. So if I go over here somewhere and I go touch off, there we go. And we'll just take a cut that way. And I'm going to keep this going for 1/2 inch from the end. There we go. We're 496. So go up here, I've typed in, I put in my X, 496, and we're just going to dial it till we get 438. Drill and ream to 3/16 of an inch. Grab, you go the 64th under, so grab 11/64, and there's the 3/16 inch reamer. So I'm going to go in with this 3/16 inch drill bit. This will just guide itself in the existing hole very nicely. Should be ready. Now we need to drill the holes through this, so I'm going to do that on the milling machine, and then when we come back we're going to part it off. So this is the collet that we used on the lathe. We're going to use the very same collet and a collet block to hold the work. So I'll pop this into the collet block. Just going to put that in the vise, cinch it down, tighten it. We need to locate the end of the part. We also need to locate the sides. For that, I'm going to use an edge finder. Okay. Okay, so what's going to happen, we're going to start this up, and when this is spinning, this end can move around and it'll find its own center, and as soon as you hit the point where you're right at the edge, where the edge finder is right up against the edge, then it's going to pop to the side and it'll make a little ticking noise. So we just start that up. Going, keep going. Right there. I zero out the display, and we'll try it again just to make sure. Dead on, 0. So now we know where the end of this part is. We need to know side by side. So I'm going to do the same thing. on the side. Come in. Sneak up on it. Right there. 0. Now we do another little trick here. We go to the other side. We come in. This was zeroed out, then we moved it. Now it says 642.2. I'm going to hit half. Y. So now we're zeroed out on the center. We've centered. We know where the exact center of this part is. That's where we're going to drill our holes. So we know what this is because these things have a fixed size. But this edge finder is actually 200 thousandths wide. So we need to take half of that off. So we dial in on the X. We dial it until it's at 0. Now we dial up .100 and we zero it. Now the center of the drill bit will be right on the edge. The center is right on the edge. Now we can move over by the amount that the drawing says. That hole doesn't have a dimension on it, so that is going to be right in the center line here. So we need to move over 1/8 plus another 1/8. This whole thing is 3/8, so we're going to move over 1/4 inch, 250 on the x-axis. 250. I have a small drill chuck that works great for these little things. Let me tighten it down. Spotting drill. Theoretically, because we see 0 on the Y, we're in the center line. And 250 on the X, we're 1/4 inch from the edge where we measured from. That's theory. Let's see what happens. And that looks like we've done it. Spot. And drill. We need to drill for 632. We're going to use a number 36 drill bit. And I'll feel it break through. There it is. Now we've got a nice thing. I put this block right up against the edge of the vise, so I can flip the block over and do the other hole. Just put the block at the same place, locate it up against the edge of the vise, and spot and drill. We're not moving a thing. The remainder of the work is the same routine we did before. this little thing in to stabilize our tap. This time, I think I can use the taper tap first. In fact, I'm just going to run it all the way through. I think I should be able to. So we've got that. Let's see. A little bit of tap magic. There we go. We're done with the milling. Go back to the lathe and cut the part off. Let's put our part back here. Total length of the part is 375. So I'm going to put the edge of the parting tool right up on the end here. There we go. Zero that out. Move over 375. And that's where we're going to plunge. And that's it. All of our machining is done. Let's get a little brake cleaner, clean off our parts. This part is going to be screwed onto the capstan. Let's put just a little bit of Loctite on there, just a drop. And put it on. There, that's on there good. Now I've cut a little piece of this tubing, and I cut a piece to length so that the holes are going to be in the middle of these white bumpers. I would recommend using Gorilla Glue. I don't use regular super glue, but my Gorilla Glue is it's gooey, so I need to order some more. But for demonstration purposes, regular super glue will do the job. Now I'm going to put these little screws, again, they go in the side, and this is going to fit right there. That's what it's going to look like. So I'm going to put a little bit of super glue on this. And get it so those are perfectly centered. That's it. I'm good to go. Now I'm going to cut a couple pieces of this tubing, and these are going to cover the wings. So we need, it's like about that much, not that much. And these slip right over the screws. And now we have two. Let me show you how this thing works. We've got our motor. We're going to put this on. There's a couple flats on this shaft. And we'll put this so that the screws are aligned with the flats. Going on here. There we go. And then they were kind enough to give me a little Allen key with the screws, so we just tighten them up. And we're ready to go. I'm not going to install this here right now. I don't have the screws with me, and it does take a little bit of fiddling to get it in there, but we'll at least run it so you can see the capstan turning. All right, we've got a mildly sketchy setup here. I'm going to, those aren't touching. This is good. We should see this motor come to life. And there you go. See the wheels are turning, and motor's turning. So there you have it. Yes, it's possible to fix the broken motor coupling on a Seeburg 1000. It takes a little bit of machining and a little bit of glue, and you can do it. I don't know if anybody's going to actually do this, but if I've saved one or two Seeburg 1000 machines out there, I've done my job. Thank you for watching.